So let's take that framework and look at one of our specific models on LANDFIRE. One of the first things we do in the vegetation modeling process is label each pixel to the dominant life form, tree, shrub, or herb. So that's what we're going to do here. We start with various what used to be Landsat, it's now harmonized Landsat Sentinel image composites. We break it out into seasons throughout the year so that we can account for that, seasonal variability, leaf-on conditions, spring green-up conditions, to really inform that model what the vegetation is like through those reflectance values. We also use an NDVI image composite. So for dominant life form, our training samples are going to come from a variety of sources. We have this information in the LFRDB for our field plots. We label each of the points that have enough information to an ecological system, and then that is crosswalked, via lookup to the dominant life form. So if it was labeled in a certain forest type, now that is a tree plot. So this is a pretty simple model. That's why I started explaining this one. We just have 3 variables. So our points are going to either be tree, shrub, or herb, and then it's going to associate that with all of our input variables through this process where we extract the values, merge that all together into a model file, and now we have everything we need to feed it into our gears there that crunch away our machine learning model. So that runs, and then we're able to map the dominant life form for every pixel. So this is a categorical model, so we're using a classification tree, and as you can see there, it's mapped out, the trees versus the shrubs versus the herbaceous. So we define tree life form as a pixel that has over 10% tree cover, and if it doesn't have that and it has over 10% shrub cover, then it's a shrub. Then it's a pixel that's the dominant life form is shrub. If it doesn't have 10% tree or 10% shrub, and it has over 10% herbaceous cover, then it is herbaceous. And if it's barren or sparse, we deal with that later through a different process. So now we have the backbone for our vegetation maps. We have the dominant life form for each pixel. So now we can build out our cover, height, and type maps accordingly. So if we have a pixel that's tree dominant life form, we'll pick our tree type from the models. We'll pick our tree cover and tree height. So we'll look at those next here.